Hey there. What do you think the number 3 thing is that most small business owners and solopreneurs miss entirely before launching a new website, a blogging calendar, a YouTube channel, podcasts, or lead magnets? Remember, I have been developing and creating SEO-driven WordPress website design and content marketing strategies for small businesses since 2009. This particular aspect of online marketing that is neglected by the business owner, or better put, the business owner lacks awareness of it, I have seen in 95% of my clients. They don't come to the table with this awareness or preparation. So what do you think it is? Here's a hint. I've already just mentioned it. But before I reveal today's topic, which is part 1 in a 2-part series, my name is Liz Garcia. I'm your happy, insightful, and perceptive host of AthenaReaderRadio.com. Welcome to episode 10 of the Athena Arena podcast, which is the content and digital marketing strategy academy for aspiring 6, 7, and 8-figure, what I call Wonder Woman brands, and mastering your inner game. And all you brilliant men out there, don't be fooled by the whole Wonder Woman thing. This is meant for you too. So, do you have any idea what this number 3 thing most small businesses and solopreneurs entirely miss in their business development and online marketing efforts is? Do you know what it is? Here it is. It's developing a content marketing strategy before you dive in to writing any content for your website or podcasts or videos or whatever it is you're creating content for. But today I'm starting with the basics, and I just want to talk about your website because there's a lot of do-it-yourselfers out there that need to understand some more in-depth stuff about search engine optimization and getting found and this type of thing. We're going to go into more advanced discussions on creating a content marketing strategy next week, since it is the beginning of a new year. And I don't know about you, but I love the energy, excitement, and possibilities that come with the start of a new year and planning a new year for my business. This is my cup of tea. You know, that was like my number 1 thing on the Clifton Strengths test was the whole strategy thing. So I love to do this, but I want to help you to do it in fun and enlightening ways so that a year from now you're not still struggling on any of these topics. So I have 2 questions I want to address. The first is, why does developing a content marketing strategy matter? That could be obvious, but we're going to get a little bit deeper into it. And why is it so significant in your consciousness? Now, I like to talk about the topic of consciousness because I teach it. And it's so vital to understand the map of consciousness and where truth and power really exist energetically. Like, okay, is there energy in this or is there not? And it's a good idea to know the difference instead of trying to guess and think you know it all, which the lower mind and the ego within us likes to do that. Whereas higher mind has humility and understanding. You don't know the whole picture of some things, right? There's hidden stuff in our consciousness that I'm going to help you become aware of. So in any event, before I answer these 2 questions, I want to go back to my number 1 thing I highly recommend before developing a website or any content, which is, so what was that number 1 thing? That was back in episode 5 at the beginning of this podcast. It's doing keyword research. Everything online is search driven. I mean, is there anywhere you go online that isn't involve a search of some sort? And Google knows what everyone is looking for online. And importantly, Google gives online marketers and business owners just like you access to all of their, a lot of their compiled data of searches. I can't say that they give us access to all of it, but I assume that most of it is there. And what they're revealing with some of the keyword marketing tools that you can check out on your own is it's going to tell you what is the search volume, like how much volume of search is there in a particular keyword phrase, and does it make sense for you to go after that audience if the search volume is super low and not worth your time? Is there competition in organic search? Like how hard is it going to be for you to get found on page 1 of a Google search, for instance, for a particular keyword? And then this is a good indicator as well. Is there competition in paid search? Are business owners paying for a particular search phrase, and is it worthwhile financially? And then finally, it's going to tell you what the average cost per click is for a particular keyword phrase, which is a great indication of financial valuability for your business and any type of business development intent you may come down the road. And I like to say in that keyword research, I discover so many business development ideas for down the road for my clients. It's kind of crazy, which I love because, I'm a strategist and I'm like, oh my God, put this on your bucket list of things to develop down the road. So that keyword research, if you're a beginner, that's where I really recommend you start if you're going to develop a business online. I mean, make sure you're going to get found and that people even want what you're doing. And they may want what you're doing, but they're not looking for it in the way that you imagine that they are. I find many other ways that people are going to find you that are more effective and productive for you to put your attention on. So, I don't want to go into the whole keyword research again because you can go back to episode 5 and get the full scoop, which I'll provide a link below to that episode, or you can simply go to theathenaarena.com/5, just 5. You don't have to spell it out, but if you do, that's okay. You'll still find it. So theathenaarena.com/5. So I want to get back to the first question. Why does developing a content marketing strategy matter? Well, you don't want to be spinning your wheels indefinitely without an intelligent, data-driven plan, do you? Right? That keyword research informs me as a strategist for my clients and my clients, like, where should I begin? Like, let's start with the lowest hanging fruit. That's where you want to begin, not with some topic for which there's no interest or search, right? Or financial viability. I mean, you can get by without financial viability if there's a high level of search, and that would be kind of like a doorway in, or top of the funnel is what it's called, type of intent to get people in your door. Okay, so people will use content that has no or little to no search, and no one's finding your website because of it. You got to go after that low-hanging fruit when you're just starting out. Or if you've been going at it for a while, nothing's coming of it, then you need to create a strategy to help you along. So one of the biggest complaints or issues that do-it-yourselfers have, or people that develop their own website, or even people for whom I create websites, they feel like they're not getting found. I'm like, well, first of all, you're not looking for the right keywords. That if I were to do your website, we would optimize for search on a particular keyword that we've agreed was worthwhile, going after. So, but people that don't get my type of help, or search engine optimization and keyword research help, try to do it on their own, and then they can't find their website anywhere. I'm like, okay, well, you need to understand how search works, how to optimize your pages for search, and you at least want to do like a start. If you have to hire someone to help you, you're going to need a starter kit package, like from someone like me, to help you map out that first dozen pieces of content so that you have something to get found for that's relevant to you. So one of the other things, reasons, so, why are you not getting found? Here's some other reasons you got to understand. Which, first of all, is you didn't do any keyword research. You don't know what you need to get found for. That's number one. And you didn't optimize your website or your pages to get found by Google or any search engine for that matter. So that's a big problem. Another big problem is that competition for page 1 of a Google search is typically pretty challenging. There's only 10 slots on page 1 of a Google search. And they can become highly competitive, which that keyword research would point out to me as a strategist and to you. It's like, okay, the competition for search for this particular word is huge, right? Especially if you're trying to get found nationally. And there's a local search strategy that we're going to talk about in another podcast on how you go around that issue if you're a small business that serves people locally. There's a lot of web-savvy small business owners now that understand that if they want to get it found, they got to do the work that I'm suggesting that needs to be done, or you hire some search specialists to help you out. And if your website is new to the web, like meaning it hasn't been online for very long, that's a problem too. Longevity does have its merits in search, especially if you have a long-term content marketing strategy already in place. It's kind of like a consistent pace of adding new content and sharing it, this type of thing. There needs to be some sort of activity planning going on, which we're not going to get into that today. I want to keep it simple. This will happen in other episodes. We'll get deeper in other things that need to happen. Businesses that have been on longer than you and that have a content strategy in place, they have lots of content, they're building authority according to Google, they're building their authority, and there's a way to go about it strategically without wasting a lot of time and money. They're going to get found ahead of you, and that's another problem. You're not going to get found if you're new to the market and others have been in business longer than you. They're likely going to be on that page, and you could be 10 pages back if you look, right? And there are tools to check where you are ranked in a particular search term, as an example. Okay, and I do want to share, I recently have taken a master class from a incredibly successful marketer. She's been a marketer for over 14 years, and she's hugely successful. But even she said that when she first started out, she didn't do any search engine stuff at all. She didn't plan content to be found on search and everything that I'm talking about. She's saying she wished she'd had started that way sooner than she did. She's very incredibly financially successful. She's hired teams of people to help her do it now. But even she said, I wish I had started when I started my business to really tap into, this is a long-term strategy, just so you know. But when you start doing it consistently, and I'm going to talk about an easy way to get started and to keep it manageable so that you can stick with it. In a little bit, we're going to talk about how to do this, because you're not alone in your inability to create content or understand, how do you go about it and how do I not spin my wheels and waste my time. So I just wanted to mention that. It was interesting. I took this course this fall, and she mentioned that she should have done this sooner. And I've noticed that other students in her community have the same problems that I'm talking about. I'm like, this is how you address those problems and nip it in the bud before you dive into the course I'm taking with her. Like, many of these students are not prepared for the course because they haven't done the groundwork, the foundational stuff first. And this particular course is how to develop a digital course and market it online. And I wanted to go to someone who's a friggin' expert at it. I mean, I'm already good at a lot of digital marketing, but I knew that she was providing, a decade of all of her trials and errors and expertise, and she shares a ton of great stuff in her course. But it's just interesting to see that so many people come into this course and they're not prepared to take the steps to create the course and market it because they're kind of beginners still. So what I teach is a great foundation to jump into her course. This is kind of what I'm seeing based on the community. So today I want to, let me get back to my notes here so we stay on track. Another important aspect to consider in regards to your website content marketing strategy is that presumably you need to attract leads and generate leads. And again, that keyword marketing research is going to indicate where the lowest hanging fruit and the greatest needs exist. How can you create a lead that's going to generate leads? Like, how do you create a lead magnet that's going to be interesting to somebody? We're going to do a whole podcast about generating a lead magnet because it's so vital, and it can be such a friggin' time suck if you don't create one that has greater possibility than others. So in general, if you're not getting found on page 1 of a Google search, this is what's going on and what you can expect from competition in your business. There's a lot going on beyond, even if you hire someone to do search for you and optimize your pages, it's still a challenge. There's a lot that goes into the algorithm that Google has to get you found on search. It's not to say it is, however, a worthy long-term strategy to develop a plan around content, building content for your business. So again, next week I'm going to discuss more advanced ideas around content marketing, and then in weeks to come I'll dive a little deeper into other types of content marketing strategies around lead generation, which I just mentioned, creating a lead magnet. And video marketing is its own topic, podcasting, blogging, and social media channels. All of those have content strategies around them that I'll address one at a time. We got a lot to learn. We're going to do a little at a time, and I'm going to prioritize what I teach you as to where I would recommend you start to a certain extent. So today, it's just your website. So the second question I wanted to answer is why developing a content marketing strategy is so significant to your consciousness, right? And, I'm a teacher of consciousness, and it's part of mastering your inner game that I want to introduce you to this topic. And you may not get it at first, but you're eventually going to get what consciousness is and what your consciousness is, right? Your energy field is the compilation of all your beliefs and thoughts and experiences, and the whole 9 yards is your consciousness. And you are an attractor field for whatever it is that you intend for, whether you know it or not. There's many things you attract that you don't intend. Trust me, we all do this as humans. Why, again, is developing a content marketing strategy so significant in your consciousness? Well, it's the powerful energy of diligence. What does it take to develop a content marketing strategy? It takes diligence. These are powerful energy fields. Intention. Coming into awareness of your audience and how you can best serve them now. In other words, educating yourself is of higher consciousness. Mastery of your expertise and offerings, like really understanding how you fit in to the results that these people, your potential clients, are looking for. You're using reason and rationality, which is of higher mind for sure, right? Intuition is good if it's intuition of the heart's intelligence. That's a whole other topic we're going to cover in weeks to come. And loving what you're doing and connecting at a high level. This is how developing this is what's going on in developing a content marketing strategy. You can certainly hire someone to help you do it, but I highly recommend you become a part of the process so that you integrate it into your own consciousness, your own understanding, and your own kind of sense of self and where you are in the marketplace. Like, how do you differentiate yourself and where do you stand in the marketplace in regards to who you serve, right? And what kind of results you provide. So that's kind of the consciousness aspect. I'd like to interject this so it gets you thinking you are more than what you appear to be, right? Your thoughts, beliefs, trapped emotions, right? Experiences, successes, and failures. That's all of you. This is all of you. And we want to bring to light where the power attractor fields are to create the life and the business that you want. So this is an aspect of mastering your inner game and how I differentiate myself from other podcasters and teachers of online marketing and business development. I just want to introduce that significant layer of who you are is your own consciousness. Okay, so let's get to the tips that I want to recommend to you. Having done this since 2009, I've done it quite a few times, on simple things that you can implement in your website this year. First, I want you to be aware that less than 5% of my clients have any content marketing strategy put into place at all, and they lack awareness that they should. So you're not alone. Why would you know? That's where you come to someone like me or others to help you understand what it takes to be a success online. Most small, I can't remember, I don't know of any of my clients that do any blogging, period. They're like, no one wants to write. They don't know what to write. Even though I spell it out for them, they're like, everyone has a block to write. Many people have blocks to writing, which is too bad. But there are workarounds to that. Like video and podcasting is a workaround writing. Can provide the same type of powerful content that is effective, which we're going to get into that later. Today we're just talking again about your own website. So your website typically has pages, and you can optimize your website pages for search, but I think it's a little challenging because you want those pages to be short, sweet, like really calling out your ideal audience, speaking to them, and providing quick solutions. It should be easy for people to look at a page, know what it's offering, and get right to the meat of the matter. So your pages on your website really need to be like a sales page to some extent, depending on, you have your basics, your home page, your about page, and then your service page and offering maybe or whatever. Those pages they can be optimized for search, but not in a powerful way because you don't want too much written content on those sales pages. There are some exceptions to that, but you just want them to sell. You want to generate leads. You want people to engage and sign up for your lead magnets or subscribe to a newsletter, whatever it may be. Very call to action driven and informative. Now, what I typically recommend for search purposes is that we develop a blogging strategy, because blogs are the type of content that can be written extensively for search. And this is what I typically do. We'll outline the pages for the website. I'll lightly optimize those pages because they really need to be sales and call to action and sales driven more so than not. And then the blogs are the content that's going to drive traffic to your website. That's my strategy. The blog posts I develop typically with each client. I'll come up an initial package that I offer. I'll come up with 12 blog posts based on the keyword research we would have done and we would have discussed and decided, like, okay, what can I write about best? Where should we focus? Where's the greatest search volume? How can I get found? How can I generate leads? That's the purpose of developing that blog strategy, is to generate traffic, leads, and revenue. The pages you can send people to take the action, like to buy the service, make an appointment, whatever it is that they're going to do. But the blog posts are really the search-driven part of your content strategy. the biggest problem with small business owners is they hate to write. Most of them, I don't think I've met anyone that likes to write. And I end up editing a lot of content because it's poorly written. But there are some tools around all of this. Like you have to hire someone to write content for you. It's well worth it, let me tell you. And if you get someone who understands a search-driven written content, there's plenty of content writers out there that know how to write for search as well. It's worth the investment because if you're not a writer, the content could be too weak to really attract much of anything. Though I do recommend kind of pushing your way through some writing, which someone like me can help you with by outlining what that content should look like. Like I could do an outline, or someone can do an outline with like 5 key topics you're going to cover based on, keyword research. There's a lot that can be done to kind of provide solutions in that regard. So anyway, if you can do some writing, which I recommend, what I'm recommending to my clients is let's map out, like as an initial package that I would do for someone, I'd map out 12 blog posts. Those posts can be done once a month, once every 2 months, once every 3 months, once every 4 months, whatever it is that you can do and commit to. And don't feel bad if you can't commit to one a month. I'm trying to keep it simple at 1 a month or 2 a month. But if you could set time aside to do 12 over the next 4 years, that's, you could do one every 4 months. That would be for the next 4 years, you'd be covered. But those blog posts have got to be killer, right? They got to be super strategic as to the topic. They've got to be long. They've got to be written like 1,500 words minimum to even come close to competing, which again, someone like me can help you outline what those chunks of content are going to look like so that you can get found. And then another aspect to the blog, of the blogging strategy, is that blog has got to be lead to a lead magnet. Like, what's the next step someone who is searching for this blog, found it and read it, can do that can lead them into some actionable step that they can take with advice from you in a lead magnet. So we develop, in this content strategy thing, we develop a lead magnet that's a natural next step into your business. And of course, this lead magnet would lead to an email nurturing sequence, just so that you understand the overall strategy, okay? And this is why not doing keyword research first can be a huge time suck, right? This is so much time can be invested in writing one blog post, creating a lead magnet and an email sequence. This is why you could do one killer blog post every 4 months and it would be enough, because if you hired me as an example, if you hired someone like me, they could help you with this strategy. Like even hiring someone to write the blog post, you outline it for them, they write it, they might interview you and get your expertise and ideas around it, that type of thing. Hire someone to do 3 blog posts, and then every year you've got 3 to post once every 4 months. So that's kind of the strategy there. And then here's the next strategy. You're going to update those posts once a year or once every 6 months if you can keep up with it. Once a year is enough too. You go into that post, you add another paragraph, you add another picture, maybe you dig up a case study or a testimonial, or you create a video. This is a great, I love this strategy, is you write the blog and then you create a video to pair it with the blog or an audio podcast, whatever, because video and audio videos are number 1 consumed content and audio would be number 2, according to some people. This is what they found. So you could, decide to create the blog post, and then you take a day off and you create 3 videos, 1 for each post, and now you have video. Now you're beefing up that blog post. And it may not pay off right away, but it's eventually going to pay off because you're going to keep adding to it. And that's one, long form content is highly shared and consumed and gets found on page 1 of a Google search. That's kind of the makeup of what those top posts look like, okay? So other things that you could add to a post every year is like maybe you find some industry statistics or outside information or data that supports your posts. This is just some stuff that you can add to your, and again, if this is overwhelming, do at minimum 1 every 4 months. I think that would be, you got 12 topics you can write about, talk about, speak about, video, whatever, and you just keep adding to them every year. And maybe you switch out the lead magnet every year. You offer 2 lead magnets, one at the top of the page, one at the bottom of the page, see which one converts better, things like that. Okay. So, and then the final aspect of this is that you want to share or reshare them in social media, wherever you may be. Maybe you're on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, one of them. If you're on one of them, there's ways to share this content throughout the year over and over again. Why not? You throw up a different picture and you link it to the same post. You throw up another picture, you link it to the same post. Maybe you say something different in those pictures, a different kind of headline you can test to see which gets more response. But you're just driving it all to the same post and repurposing all of this stuff is what I'd recommend. So let me just further state that these blog posts also need to be optimized for search, which I'll talk about optimizing for search in another podcast, and we're not going to do that right now. There's plenty of videos that teach you how to optimize a page for search. I'll talk about it, or you can hire someone to do it. And again, the strategy for your blog post content should be initially based on your keyword research. And again, that can be found, that whole keyword research topic can be found in episode 5 of this podcast, or you can go to theathenaarena.com/5. Now, I put together a little something for you to gain further insight and raise your consciousness and master your inner game on this topic called the Content Marketing Starter Kit, the definitive guide to what is a content marketing strategy in general. You can access this at theathenaarena.com/CM1. That's C for content, M marketing, and the number 1 to access this PDF that you can read and refer to as you're developing your plans for 2023 and mastering your inner game and your consciousness and educating yourself on what this all is. So again, that's theathenaarena.com/C as in cat, M as in marketing, 1. And that'll get you started. So next week is going to be part 2. Even though I master your inner game, I like to alternate them. I want to stick with this topic because it's the beginning of the year. And I want you to get in planning mode because it can be fun to kind of ride the crest of the wave of excitement of a new year. There is, I feel, there's a level of excitement and anticipation and fun in planning for your new year. And I like to ride that wave with the energy of all of us doing this in setting new goals and intentions and all that kind of good stuff in a new year. So I will see you again next week and have fun this week.